asked me if I could be a proofreader for them. I said,
that sounds exciting.
I said, no, but I'll look around. I got some folks. So we'll start with that. Hey, anybody looking for a gig in crypto? If you have native Western English writing and speaking skills, a little bit of strategic capability, and you're good with the English. I got a buddy who's got a good project, well funded. It's another chain. And they are looking for someone to proofread their social media posts before they go out and their Medium posts, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to start our job board here soon, right, Joe?
That's right. That's a great idea.
Yeah. What can we make on a job board?
How much do we make?
Yeah.
Didn't they, when back in the days of the headhunters, if I remember right, it was like a third of the first year's salary, right?
Yeah, third of first year, and in crypto, it should be like first year.
Yeah, but it was paid out of the hiring person, right? It wasn't
nobody pays it, not the employee. Yeah. So we'll start taking bounties.
That's right. It'll be like scalps and bounties and whatever else people want.
I considered that head hunting stuff about I don't know, some desperate point in my life. There's been a few of those. Because I'm pretty good at building the network up. But I thought back through all the headhunters that had tried to recruit me, and I was like, fuck that shit. Just no, I can't do that job. No, thank you.
Well, it's like anything. It's like real estate, headhunting, mortgage brokering. They're just it's just time.
Yeah.
And it's doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
But it's nothing exciting. I think when people see stuff like that, whether it's realtors or it's headhunters, it's like, oh my God, a third of $200,000. And they're like, think that's just so easy to do.
Yeah.
Run into it a lot with M&A. You see these M&A fees for mergers and acquisition deals, and they're monster numbers.
Yeah.
But you got 12 years of getting royally screwed every which way but loose, and then one hits. So it's really not. It's not like you're knocking those huge deals down every week. Let's put it that way.
Right. No, that's true. It's a lot of nothing before you get to something in between.
Yeah. No, I seem to remember a lot of that in the .com days.
Oh yeah,
this is probably where you ran into it a lot. So,
but I gotta believe that DeFi projects are probably paying a real premium right now. Oh, interestingly, Jaws, who's the head of growth for Olympus DAO, he posted yesterday he wants somebody to start a customer support DAO, so that all the projects can utilize people from the DAO for their support needs and not have to deal with it on the core team. And so my thinking was, wow, if you had a DAO that did that, you could have all these people from all these projects coming together that know the projects to be support people on those projects. And then they're learning about other projects. And it's like this decentralized, centralized support system for, top tier projects. Could be pretty cool.
Just throw the word kayak in there, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's it's going to be the type of thing where, think about it. You're going to have inside alpha on stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
At the projects.
Yep.
You'll be there at the inception point of a lot of new things, and building a network up of people that are going to be in all these projects. So,
that's right.
And I think, and then aggregating all of that, I thought you were going a different way with service, because I've run into services companies where people buy by the hour. And,
no, this idea is this: the DAOs are fed up with dealing with support issues, right?
Yep.
And so they want somebody to outsource it to, just like .com. I set up a support organization in the Philippines, built out a call center there. And that was good money, by the way. And so the idea would be, it's just, it wouldn't be a phone system.
So let me hear your Filipino impersonation, young hustling Brad.
I don't do impersonations, Joe. My son's good at those, but I don't.
Oh, I thought maybe you're working at a call center in the Philippines and you got to kind of act Filipino.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this one works. Hey, yeah, it's Brad here in South Florida. Taking your call.
For the
Printer,
Filipino telco calls.
my printer, no print.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
God.
Joe. No. Oh my God. I'm fucking seriously lagging on my view. Am I lagging on your side?
I can't tell, man. You need more Filipinos over there.
Stop. It's a wonderful people, like amazing people, and
Oh, absolutely.
smart, very service oriented. They're, good place. I have a lot of good friends there.
Yeah.
A lot of good friends.
That's fun. That's probably, that's sort of my favorite part of the world, I think, from, say, Singapore on up to Japan, that area.
Yep.
It's just a lot of fun. Lots of a bazillion different cultures, different types of food.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So yesterday, all of stock market and crypto dumped to shit, but look what our friends at Geyser did.
I didn't see that. What are they trading at?
They're up 58.19% because they launched, I'm assuming, because they launched NFT staking and they're staking as a service yesterday. So Geyser, just for those of you that are not aware, I really love this team. I did an interview with the team when I first started the Mission DeFi podcast. Really impressive group. And I will tell you that underneath, and we talk about it in the podcast, underneath their platform as it is today is a modular system for building dApps in Ethereum that I think eventually they're going to unleash on the world. But for right now, they started off as basically a place where anyone could come set up pools, liquidity pools for their project, staking, yield farming pools for a project. And they had a first version that was kind of complex. It made the staking and yield farming competitive. So you had to deal with timing and everything else. And then they launched another version of the platform that allowed you to set up kind of standard pools and farms. And yesterday they made it so now you can stake, you can set up pools for people to stake NFTs and earn tokens. So there's all kinds of, applications for this here, right? It's like you could have an NFT project that also has a token that wants to reward people that don't dump and sell their NFTs, right? I mean, it's another market dynamic. You could have a DeFi project that wants to launch NFTs to specific people in the community or whatever, and wants them to be able to earn tokens for the project because they stake the NFT and they hold it. I mean, there's all kinds of things. You could be somebody that's a big collector and you've started a DAO for collecting NFTs and you want to have a token for it to fund more acquisitions for it, right? So anyway, the cool thing about Geyser is that anybody can come in here and set up a pool and provide rewards and, start building liquidity. It's a really cool system, really easy to do, doesn't require you to have any coding skills whatsoever. And now they've added the ability to stake NFTs. And so while everybody else was, in the crypto market was eating shit yesterday, they're up 58% on the day. So I'm excited for that team because they don't ever hype. They don't ever shill. They're never about the token price. They're conservative, just hardworking group of folks that are building a great product.
Because they got you to do it for them. So it's perfect.
Fuck. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Now, I love this project myself too.
I do have a bag.
It's almost like it's. Oh really? Oh gee, okay. I didn't really know that you would.
Not a
significant ourselves.
Now. Not a significant bag,
yeah.
But I do have a bag.
Yeah, I always liked it from the beginning, but it seems like it's I tend to have this problem where things are either overly complicated, and I go, people aren't going to get that, or or it's like, oh, that's just so the next one's going to be this. And I always anticipate people jumping to the next technology. But, these guys keep bringing out better innovation and better products. So, they're getting an A+ in execution risk as far as from my perspective, because they keep doing it.
Yeah. And I had a conversation with them November-ish when I really felt like the Olympus model was going to take off, and more projects were looking at bonding with Olympus instead of standard yield farming. And, I mean, it wasn't anything they weren't aware of, but I just said, you guys should really be thinking about how do you take the platform and provide better outcomes for projects that decide to utilize it, right? And it may be that they have to figure out something else, but the NFT staking to me really kind of opens up. I think that's why their price reflects it. It opens the door to an entire new market that doesn't necessarily have to be about farming. It can be about staking the NFTs and providing more value. So I'm excited they have that out there now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's perfect timing. I mean, it shows the value of timing and PR. And everybody's been wanting to figure out how to stake NFTs for quite some time now. Nobody seems to have really figured it out yet, but you get the buzz from it. And what I kind of like about these guys too is that I think they sort of figured out that what they had was really the whole geyser concept of the technology,
right?
And that those multipliers you could get by using the token when you were exiting from, say, the fundraising stream or the revenue stream, and they, rather than stay beholden to building that as an individual brand per se, they went off to almost a permissionless type model, which is very similar to our friends at Doki Doki. Whereas they had this really cool application of tech that was getting too pigeonholed into one thing, anime, let's say, or NFTs, or areas that people in know say, oh, that's really cool. But people outside of that, or that have maybe a dislike of any of those things, it doesn't get them to engage. So I think what I'm getting at is we're seeing these, as DeFi keeps pushing to the edge, now we're getting these, version 3.0 or whatever applications, not web 3.0, that's not what I mean, but just kind of the next round of iterations from a platform that are getting things like this, like the geysers and the Dokis.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Absolutely. No, I'm excited for them. And you're right. That's a great parallel to Doki, right? And what we're seeing is some of these projects that you and I really liked with, good concepts and good bones, actually doing things now to evolve, right? And it's just like any good startup would be in the Web 2 world. They look for customer market fit, the product market fit. They succeed at some things, fail at other things. They adjust. And the cool thing is in this world is that they can utilize the foundations of what they already built to actually add functionality to it, or to even pivot or create new products. So from my perspective, I think it actually makes them even more nimble, if especially when you think about the crunched time horizon that we live in with DeFi. So no, I'm excited for them. Glad to see that. I hope the founders pocket a little cash today, because they've worked hard and have earned it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, seem like super nice guys. Wish them the best.
So
what are you seeing else out there that's like that? Oh, go ahead. You go.
No, I was going to say, I was going to hop over to overall market conditions, and I thought you might want to give us some of your brilliant analysis on what's going on with this dump.
Well, I think it all starts out in the traditional finance market. It's not being led in crypto sphere, so to speak. So I think it's the same stuff that's been there for a while. I mean, we talk about the, perhaps overvalued sense of value in the equities market. It tends to be a thing that a lot of people use to measure, progress of, an up or down vote on governments. It's
Yep.
an easy one to look at. So everybody focuses on that. We just look at it a little bit more because I think a lot of the money can drain out of crypto faster if people are using it to cover other things. Now we are waiting for that decoupling to happen,
Right.
which should happen somewhere. But this to me is all about the market sitting there going, oh wow, the Fed might have to increase their attack on inflation,
Right.
and but at the same time, another just starting to get mentioned a little bit more is that third thing that nobody ever wants to talk about, which is the quantitative tightening, not quantitative easing, and that's all the stuff that the Fed's just sort of bought along the way to give the U.S. government the sort of working capital to fund sort of day-to-day operations. And so, I mean, it's like me saying to you, okay, Brad, go ahead and give me $6 trillion. Yeah, I got it right here. I'll get it back to you later. And Brad's like, yeah, okay, why not? What the hell? Take 6 billion.
Oh yeah.
Or 6 trillion, sorry. So, the question is there really any collateral there?
Right.
It's just U.S. economics.
Yep.
Just take it up. I think we were exploring the world of centillions and quadrillions the other day, and
it's insane.
But I think the thing is that you kind of go, well, what was the underlying collateral? Like if you go to the bank to borrow money, you got to post something, and it's not like our good friends at Alchemex where you actually don't have to pay it back. With the banks, you got to pay it back. So. So to me, I always question that, it is just printing money, okay, in a lot of ways, but in a slightly different way than the norm, where you just did it with just the interest rates.
Right.
So when you take that 6 trillion off of the Fed balance sheet, that you can't just go, oh, okay, let's get rid of that. There's a process too, just the way that it got on the balance sheet. There's a process taking it off, and it's kind of complicated, and it affects household credit levels and bank debt and things like that. But I think when we were trying to do this 2 or 3 years ago, and not me, of course, I just mean, the geniuses, the global economic geniuses or whatever, it was about taking interest rates up and quantitative tightening. And we kind of got to where we had already stopped tapering, if I'm not mistaken, at that point. And then we'd already started quantitative tightening. And then at the same time, interest rates were going up. And it was just too much,
right?
Because the previous administration, was obviously concerned about getting reelected. And so they, didn't want to take the hit that the economy needs to take, in my opinion. That I think that then there should be a correction coming here.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to take the hit because it's probably going to be a big one, is the way it looks like to me. But I just say that in the sense of, that's just what happens.
Yeah, of course.
So, get into that DeFi now and, hedge yourself against stuff. But, because again, you're talking about a world where they're playing in the 1, 2, 3% range on just about everything. And we're talking about, economic catastrophe if all of a sudden, you lose that 0.5% in interest income. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You could make it a month over here in DeFi world. You've basically covered, a whole year of interest, over there in traditional world. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it's as bad in that regard, but I think that there has to be something. How that affects different people in different parts of the world is going to be different based upon where you are in the pecking order of things, which again tells me two things. One, if everything's pegged at $1 and the dollar's devaluing, then you're devaluing too. So it makes a stronger argument to me to be more in crypto if I'm, in third world countries, let's say.
Yeah.
Because then the government can't just revalue your local currency and that's all you can do because it's in the bank account.
Yeah.
So I think that should give you impetus to do more crypto. If you're first world economies, again, I think it's the same thing. Do you want those, deposits just going down in real value, your cash deposits? And that's, so I kind of think everybody at the U.S. stock markets, let's say, where are they going to put the money? I mean, you're going to sell it. Well, it's already pretty much in cash. If it's in, U.S. equities, you can get out of that pretty fast.
Right.
So my question is, where do you go? And I saw that like gold was down, the last couple of days, which you'd think maybe you go to gold, and who's going to go into bonds, T-bills, stuff like that. I mean, you do if you've got bazillions of dollars. You don't want to.
Do you even go if it's at negative? I mean, it's nuts.
There's a different game at the institutions, the financial institutions that they can play,
right?
Where you're basically almost paying for them, the central bank, to take the money, and it's got all the hallmarks that we like, getting paid to do nothing before you have to do it, kind of thing. But I don't. When you start getting to that level where you look at like what Europe did or Japan's done, and you kind of can see that, it's that kind of negative interest rate scenario is kind of not where you want to go. We know that.
Right.
We know we don't want to be in a high inflationary or stagflationary environment, because, that slows down the economy, slows the spending, slows income. So, we're trying to find that middle ground. And the thing is, like in almost everything, there's no real exact answer. It's like,
come on, Joe, give us the exact answer.
Everybody's trying to figure it out. Plus, so much of it is confidence in that, you need everybody to believe that the money is going to be in the bank the next day.
Right.
And, it is in the bank the next day until the day it's not. And, and that's the day you don't want to be there that day. You want to be there the day before. So that's the kind of edge we're going to give to you here at DeFi Lunch. We'll get you to the bank the day before so you can get your money. I'm just kidding. But
that's a financial planning guarantee from Joe Cawley. No, it is not.
That's
there
it.
is no financial advice.
No,
I agree. I agree.
But I don't see, again, I just think we have to take our medicine. And I think that, nobody wants to take the medicine.
Yeah.
And, and it's funny when we talk about inflation, and we talk about this inflation problem, and it's in all the stuff like gas and oil and food, basically.
Yeah.
And you can start thinking, I wonder if that's just because, all the poor people didn't have enough money before.
Right.
Before the pandemic. So, and now they've got money to buy the basic shit that they need, and it causes the prices to go up. But that's part of the supply chain issues too. But it does make you think that, is there ever enough money for everybody? Does it always go into some like super competitive, competitive dynamic for resources, or
right.
even, because we talk a lot about, universal basic income and just different things that you could use to smooth out the rough edges of society.
Yep.
But then do not more rough edges show up in some other aspect that we haven't thought about? I don't know.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't know where I don't think that everything keeps going up like it goes up, because one, I think most of the people that own the stocks, it's like less than 10% in the US. The population actually even owns equities. And those are also the people that donate to political campaigns and do stuff like that. They're also more active, usually how do I put it the right way? More higher educated. Let's put it that way.
Right.
In certificates, let's say, undergraduate degrees, master's degrees, whatever. So that's the ones that I think all the politicians are most sensitive to. And, my read is, whether you're looking at the Sandinistas or you're looking at the Trumpers, the economic populists out there, that they're really the same. And it's that they didn't, you have these expansions in this economy when we grew. And so you had towns and you had railroads and you had, rivers and ports and all this economic development to grow stuff, food, whatever, and get it to the cities where you could sell it and make some money for it. So these towns all popped up out of everywhere around getting something to the cities to feed them, whether it's, ranching and cows or it's, corn or whatever. Well, once you finished expanding and, settling, for lack of a better word, the West, there's nothing else to do. So you got these populations that just sit around trying to figure out how to occupy the day. Because remember, it was farming. Farming's hard work. You're up at 4 and you're in bed by 8, and you're manual labor in it. So, those days were filled. Well, now they're not filled. But nobody's doing anything.
Right.
Other than looking at phones and stuff like that. But so I don't know where it kind of heads next, but I think that, we just have to be prepared for stuff. So when I talk about crypto, to me, that is a hedge to me, as well as a revenue stream. I don't know if I see the big attractiveness right now in, say, real estate, other than maybe, commercial mall REITs or something like that. Because I think that place can come back eventually,
Sure.
Pandemically, hermetically sealed environments, healthy social distancing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, stuff always comes back, but I don't see any big moves to be made like in crypto today, based upon anything that I see going on in the overall market. Because I think everybody's pretty much already in, or all in, or has a regular amount coming in each month to either add to positions, or dollar cost average, or did I lose Brad? I lost Brad there. So I don't have any really new things other than the stuff that we're on the edge on all the time. And with that, I don't know. I see those being a cycle. So I think when the Ohm forks start coming back into fashion, I don't know when that is or what that is, but then I think you'll start seeing a lot of these going. When one gets to a successful, pivot project based upon from the, originally what they thought they were going to do. I mean, those kind of things will catalyze it. And then anything that's big in consumer uptake, which is definitely, as we all know, happening. It's just, I think, I don't know if I was talking with Brad about this on the show yesterday or just in another call, but, you got to think last year, I think that this part of January was kind of a little bit down, and then we started kind of going up around the 20th or so, and then it kind of just went up until like May-ish, and then down through July 15th up to like September, down most September, then up October, and then November around Thanksgiving there was kind of a shift that I didn't pick up on well enough, but, it's been kind of like sliding sideways down, a little up and down since then, waiting for the next thing. And so remember all the things everybody worried about, the debt stuff. Well, I think we're not going to have that legislative fight every 2 months, at least for a couple of years. Printing money, build back better, all of those things. Parts of that will come and parts won't. But you definitely have to think that we're transiting out of a pandemic economy into something that's going to get much more heated up. So that's why I think the inflation scares everybody to death on the policy side. But, I don't see that as anything horribly negative. I don't like the deficit spending, but I don't think I think that's more of an abstract thing rather than a real thing. All right, so I guess I'm just going to blabber on about stuff that I really don't know anything about. Let's see what Brad is doing. Oh, here he comes. Hey, we lost him again. Yeah, I don't see him. He's trying to get back in here. But, I think 2022 is going to be good. So, but as far as which particular cryptos, I think I'm thinking, the ones that I talk a lot about in general, but nothing really particularly new. Geyser, Brad talked about it earlier. That's one that, I see going somewhere over time. Think about all the stuff you see out there now that wasn't doing much in 2019, and now it is. So I don't know about any particular picks, but once we have the club part up and running, you'll definitely see where, how we're doing the analysis and where the picks are coming from. Let's see what's going on. But hope everybody's being safe. I think that again, the windows are open, so we got the fresh air down here, but it sure sounds dire out there again. But I guess the good thing is not as many people are actually dying. They're just getting sick, and I guess that a lot of it is preventable. So, where are you, Brad? I know he wanted to talk about a few other things, but you're just going to be stuck with me. That boy and all his Mac equipment, he needs to. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Hey.
In on the phone.
Mr. Mac. Mr. Mac is here.
Hi, shut up.
What, did you just come down from your part-time job at Pornhub and now you're back in here? All right, got it.
Yeah. I had a quick customer I had to take care of on the live feed.
Is that where the one you got to pay them to watch?
Exactly. That's my world, man.
No, I was just giving my spiel on.
You were struggling. I've been sitting here watching you.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't really know where to take it. I wasn't sure if you were coming back or what, but I just don't see anything, anything new today that makes me think anything less of or more about, anything crypto right now.
Yeah.
I think that, we know that the equities markets, are overvalued. We know that, there's some inflation there depending upon whether it's just poor people spending money,
right,
or it's supply chain issues, restarting a fast up economy again. I mean, I think there's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But I mean, who says I don't necessarily see why, poor people spending money on food is the area that everybody focuses on first.
Right.
As in what's wrong with everything.
Right.
It's like those damn poor people. It's like, to me, it's so many other areas you could look at first of stuff that's being subsidized or, helped out or whatever. And then what I think about, with, say, food security is that if all it takes is a couple of kids to come out of poverty that wouldn't have made it, without, that whatever credit people get for kids or, education or something, that's a huge, doesn't take much to really make those programs home runs. So yeah. I kind of err on it like, well, it's either and I'm just not picking on anybody in particular, but it's either a tobacco farmer getting subsidized if they still are, or, or an ethanol farmer, for corn for cars,
Yeah.
It's like people are getting subsidized everywhere.
That's right.
And, so who gives a shit if it's keeping people off the corner and keeping them off, some percentage in school and some percentage doing better than they would, then that's the bargain.
Yeah.
That you got to go with.
So Julio in the comments fed us a little something. He said that the latest Ponzi he's got going, maybe you can share screen on this. One of them, he said, I've been looking at refi and the whole FAS movement. So I'm going to have to look up FAAS movement, but he's pointed to refi, MCC, and CAT. If you take a look at refinance.network, Joe, I don't know if you could share that screen. That'd be great.
I'm going to.
And let's figure out what the hell this thing is.
Refinance.network.
I'm seeing a lot of tweets around it. People making the cash money just for holding, but I have no idea what the hell it is. There's no document. Oh, info. Here we go. CoinGecko. That's not helpful. Contact Medium docs. Let's check out the docs. And I don't know if it's, I assume it's Julio, but it might be Julio, but it's G-I-U. Is that Julio?
Julio, yeah.
Julio.
G, yeah, that's probably Italian. That's my guess.
Italian. Okay.
Spanish should usually be with a J. All right, Refinance Network.
I can't get their docs page to load. There we go. Looks like must be a BSC play. They had a pre-sale March of last year. Damn. Yeah, it's a BSC play. The last news on their medium was March 18th. So that's not encouraging. Yeah. He said, yes, it is. Oh, Reimagined Finance is the name of the project. Am I on Reimagined? No, I am not. So there's another refile. Yeah, he's right. Okay, so you got a URL there?
I'm trying to find it. Reimagined Finance. CoinGecko refi, I guess is the. We're looking at slow, chug.
I can't find it.
The token is REFI. I got a reimagined.fi is the URL. Reimagined.fi.
All right, reimagined.fi. Got it. All right, you buy refi. We use it to farm DeFi projects in multiple chains. We return the profits seamlessly back to you. Oh, so they're a fund.
Interesting.
So essentially, they're just trying to shield people from doing it themselves. Okay.
That's
we return.
clever.
Oh, and it pays out in ETH. And you have to hold 10,000 refi. What's it priced at right now? Let me look.
Not much. 98 cents, like 10 cents roughly.
Oh. It's down 25%. Is that right?
It was. Its 14-day was up 1,633. So
looks like it was down last night, but it's bouncing. Yeah, up 6.22%. Well, that's interesting. Wow.
I take a better look at this one.
Definitely. Thanks, Julio. That's awesome, man. 5% of each buy
DeFi.
sell is converted to ETH reflections automatically. The dividend mechanism incentivizes token holders to hold in order to earn dividends from the transactions.
Huh.
The strategy for farming will be revealed later and decided together as a DAO. That sounds like the We're Forked Investment Club.
It does sound like that a little bit.
That's interesting.
Reading the website. Yeah, and I want to take a look at this website more. Oh, so look, we got a tax. Yeah, there's some total tax of 12%. And I think that's comprised of a treasury tax of 5%, reflection tax of 5%, and an LP tax of 2%.
We use the money in the treasury to farm across multiple chains and return the profits seamlessly back to you through Ethereum or native token reflections. Hey, want an exponential reflection? You can do so on our dashboard to convert your ETH dividend to refi in one click. So you can recompound in. That's very interesting. I mean, you're essentially betting on the farming abilities of the team, right?
Yep.
Julio said, I don't think it is sustainable, and who knows how long before it dies off. Yeah, Julio, that's kind of the thing we've been doing lately with some of these is, can you get in? I think on some of the reserve currency ones, we have a better opportunity to come back in later because the mechanisms are still sound. Something like this, it's a little more iffy just because you're kind of basically depending on a group of people to do the farming for you unless they have an automated mechanism. And I don't know yet if this is an automated play, which would be interesting, and which is actually something we're talking about for We're Forked, right? Can you automate all of the staking and yield farming based on the governing strategy? If so, then
we don't really care who's in charge of it as long as they don't rug it, right? So, although that would probably be a high risk here as well.
It looks like they're out there, though.
They don't tell you what the strategies are. Like, I'm looking at, oh, here we go. On the Medium, they have strategies.
Yeah.
They've already deployed 25 ETH and 3 farming strategies split between low risk, medium risk, and high risk. Yesterday, we deployed an extra 10 ETH into 2 new strategies. This brings our total farming wallet to over 35 ETH within 72 hours of launch. This was on the 15th of December. This update, I want to explain what we just did and why. Adding to the low, medium risk bucket in our efforts to spread risk across platforms and protocols, yesterday we bridged 7 ETH to the Terra network, 3 ETH to Luna, 3 ETH to UST. Head over to Anchor, bonded our Luna, and minted B Luna. I guarantee you they're doing all of this manually.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And that's where you kind of get crushed time-wise.
Yeah. Took a loan with a 40% LTV and had extra UST to earn yield on. Now that same UST can be combined with the other 4 ETH worth of UST we bought and staked to earn a 19.47% APY. This is already an amazing return for simply depositing stablecoins with very minimal risk. However, we've done some stuff on top of that, which I'll explain in a sec. All right. Oh, so this is essentially a fund, right? And they're paying earnings out in ETH. And I'm sure there's a bit of automation happening here on the components of it. But what's interesting is you're betting on the strategies that these guys are employing. And is there additional earn beyond what their farming earns? Like, are you earning yield on refi on top of the ETH earned in the farming strategies, I wonder? Julio said, yeah, and the treasury is low percentage of the market cap, making the treasury inefficient. Good thing is treasury grows with tax and thus volumes. If the token dumps, treasury still grows. It's all done manually. It's all about faith in the farmers. Not a huge fan of the farming as a service narrative, but sure something to keep an eye on. Yeah, I think, Julio, that there's there's some opportunities there in betting on these people, but you've got to be able to automate pieces of this. We're actually I've had 2 discussions now with Dennison Bertram at Vote with Tally. Had a chat with Hilmar from Gelato yesterday. I was hoping Hilmar had some more off-the-shelf components for automating what we're going to do on We're Forked. Looks like we're going to have to start with manual as we'd originally planned. You and I will be managing it, Joe. But the cool thing is it does look like it's doable for us to automate a lot of this. It's just going to take some work. So,
yeah, and I think that what these guys are doing a little bit of this kind of interesting is, I guess people are picking the strategies here too, in the sense of, was kind of the thing that I was grappling with when we had that one conversation is that, different people can pick different strategies.
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to necessarily be on the same strategy, or maybe they will. I don't know.
I don't know
if they vote for it.
That's interesting.
But yeah.
So I threw out a little comment.
It's pretty cool stuff. Thanks, Julio.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. I'm going to take a look at the other ones that he flipped some other pairs in the tokens in there. MCC Cat. He said he's also been doing flips with NFTs. And then he posted up AGFI, ABC, and ECC. So we'll take a look at those tokens. Maybe we'll talk about those a little more to see how things are going. Earlier today, it's interesting. I didn't quite expect this. I was just throwing out something stupid that came into my head, but it keeps coming into my head. And so you know me, Joe. I'm going to say whatever the fuck's on my mind. And so I tweeted, sometimes it feels like Olympus DAO should be a chain. It really isn't needed, but the more I think about the core function in economics, it keeps popping back into my head. Being my head does not make it a good idea, though, so there's that. But here's the thing, right? Like, you have this engine, this economic engine that is Olympus DAO, this reserve currency engine, this bonding engine. And I think the reason this keeps coming back to me is I see so many projects being built on top of that engine that I could imagine it being its own chain with the core of the chain revolving around how the bonding process functions, right? And then being able to have some kind of sub-function of that actually allows people to launch projects on it with their own tokens, but everything is based around kind of the bonding protocols, right? So basically, I guess you'd be like recreating the real fiat economic model in its own chain on the system. So anyway, what was interesting was Jaws on the growth team from Olympus DAO liked it, and it's gotten a little bit of interaction response. So I was kind of surprised by that, but obviously that's probably not something that's on the roadmap. But I was just playing around with that. Metis is still blowing up, and people are. I say blowing up in hype. I haven't looked at price today, but that's the layer 2. The
Vitalik's mom's company.
Yeah, Vitalik's mom is on the executive team there. Now they're down today, which may be an opportunity because the hype machine is still happening for them. They're down. Well, on the day they're up 2.42%, but as of from last night or yesterday morning to last night, they were down 31.5%. So if you think that Metis is a good opportunity because you think this layer 2 is going to do well, and that Vitalik's influence is going to help this thing to take off, this might be a good place to get in. They announced a mining builder program. So they already have, I believe, 2 $100 million funds, one by VCs and one by them. The VCs are investments. The one by them is grants. So to encourage projects to move over. And then today they launched, I think they call it the mining builder program. And the idea of this is they're going to take 30% of all Metis fees that get generated and distribute that to all of the projects in the ecosystem. So if you accounted for, let's say your project accounted for 10% of all Metis gas fees, the Metis fees on the network, you'd get 10% of 30% of the total Metis fees generated. So may not sound like much, but over time that could pile into a huge amount of medicine and value for a project that decides to just move over. I mean, it's EVM, right? So moving your project to the Metis chain, if they grow their user base, it could be some good revenue. Here's the problem, right? I think the other day they were up to like 350 million TVL on the whole chain, on the whole network, not chain. They face the same problem that every layer 1 or every layer 2 or layer 1 faces, and that is recruiting both sides of the marketplace at the same time. You've got to recruit the users, and you've got to recruit the developers with applications, and both are difficult to get unless you have the other one. So they're kind of at that quandary point, and hopefully the hype keeps driving for them. I interviewed the CEO. I'm finally getting her interview out next week. And I think that there's really good bones here. The core thesis of this system right now in this version is that you can launch your own DAO, or what Vitalik calls DACs, decentralized autonomous companies, in their platform. There's a native interface on the blockchain for it. You can issue tokens and do cool things on it. But they're just at that chicken and egg position at this point. So,
but any of those, the fact that it has Vitalik's mom involved means that it's going to be around.
You'd think so.
Is it better than? Well, I was kind of, when you were talking about it, I just keep thinking about Polygon and wondering what they think, in the sense of why did Vitalik's mom go there and not go to Polygon?
Well, yeah, and I think Vitalik's mom. I think this came out from the origin story you'll hear in the document. I mean, in the interview, Vitalik's mom and the CEO are best friends and have been since Vitalik was a small baby. So that was the connection that brought Vitalik's mom into it. How much Vitalik is involved, I don't know, but they have adopted a lot of the things he's written about in the past that he wanted to see in Ethereum. So, obviously, if you think that Vitalik's ideas and strategies are good, then, could be a good place to be. I like their approach. I like their philosophy. I like the fact that they're well-funded. and that they have a good, strong, solid team. And I like the origins of them creating, the founders having created Crypto Chicks, having trained hundreds of people around the world and Ethereum development, Solidity development. So there's a lot of good there. There's a lot of good there. We'll see how it goes.
Did you pick some up yet?
I have not. I've got my list of 5 or 6 new things I'm probably going to pick up in the next 24 hours. And that'll be one of them. A little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. So let me see if there was anything else, Joe. We're lagging today. Yeah,
you got some bandwidth problems over there?
Yeah, I got bandwidth problems, all right. No, I don't know what the hell's going on today. I'm going to look at some alternatives to StreamYard for a stream because it's just something else that's kind of taken off on the hype cycles is Pocket Network, POKT. It's called Pocket, I guess is how you pronounce it. But idea is it's spinning up nodes that are actual nodes for the network, right? Not full nodes, not Ethereum nodes, but like UPC URLs. It's a place where it's a network that projects can utilize to launch their dApps and have the infrastructure built for them, but it's being done in a decentralized fashion. So there's a really great thread by Lex Miskovsky on why it's important and why he thinks this project's actually going to do really well. I think you can earn tokens if you set up a node or you set up the infrastructure to allow the nodes to be run on your infrastructure. But anyway, very similar to kind of Infura and how it functions, basically providing infrastructure for dApps and projects to build out and launch on. So, you know what? I think that's all I got today, Joe. I think I'm beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, I think everybody's just sort of waiting to see how this week. It almost feels like it doesn't feel like everybody is back to work or back to school. You know what I mean? It sort of feels like this is the second week of the holiday thing, not the first work week of the new year. Yeah. So it feels a little off, and I think everybody's waiting just to see what happens now.
Yeah.
In the overall market stuff.
Yep.
But I think everybody shuffled. Whoever was doing tax selling and buying already did it.
Yep.
That's how the December 31st option issue is gone. Now we're just into big macro issues.
Yeah.
We're trying to find the next thing. But, the innovation keeps pushing out to the edge. So, when I look at SEC and regulator types, digging in on DeFi and Uniswap and stuff like that, they're not here. They're not where we are. And so we're going to keep finding more and more things that, I think the next waves are going to be, oh yeah, this is a DeFi, but here these APYs are real,
right?
Kind of thing,
right?
Anything that makes, algorithms that make those maybe arbitrage across different platforms and make those numbers real, somehow using it in ways that you combine it with other stuff. I mean, to me, I think that's kind of what's coming next in my mind. So I'm super excited for it.
Really interesting. I had a chat. I won't name his name. I don't think he would care, but I won't name him. I was in a DM chat yesterday with a founder of a project that I've interviewed, and this is a guy that's wired into DeFi, right? Like he knows a lot of projects because so many projects use his platform, and he had never heard of Olympus DAO. And so in our phone conversation the other night, I was going, oh, Olympus DAO, great community. They're all building. That's the kind of DAO we want to build with We're For It with a bunch of people participating and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, what's Olympus DAO? And I was like, dude, seriously? You don't know Olympus DAO? It's like the DeFi project of the, for the last year. He's like, no, never heard of it. So I started explaining it to him. And he DM'd me yesterday. He's like, what the fuck is with these APYs? I was like, what do you mean, man? Yeah, they're down a little bit. They're actually reducing the APY. He's like, down? he's like, what the fuck? 4,600%? I said, well, it's going to drop to 1,000. He goes, it's still 1,000%. And I was like, you know what? It's your fucking perspective. It's like we're so jaded now with these fucking APYs that it was like he's like, dude, you totally red pilled me. I am so in. Because I explained the model, how it functions, everything else, He's like, damn. Now, in fairness, he just had a baby a couple of months ago. So, he's in that zombie parenting mode where you're like trying to work and you're still like sleeping 20 minutes a day and that kind of thing. But it was hilarious to have that perspective hit me. I was like, oh, fuck, we're all panicked and worried about it dropping to 1,000%. And he's like, what the fuck, 1,000%? Are you kidding me? That's insanity.
Yeah, it's a home run to him.
Yeah.
It's weird to me. I don't know, the APYs and stuff. I don't really look at them that much anymore, to be honest. I'm kind of looking at, just, okay, so that's adding, 10 tokens a week,
Right.
rebasing or something. And so if this does come back, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, I could be sitting on a nice stack. And, if it does this or that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. And I'm not doing a lot of yield farming, but you're right. It is like when we can joke or talk about something with God knows how many above trillions and quintillion, 17 zeros or something like that, and joke about it. Oh, it's only, 16 trillion quadrillions. But not really. Oh yeah, not really. But at least for an hour, it's just kind of a joke to us. But somebody else comes in and they see that number and their first thinking is, oh, that's got to be bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be a scam.
And then you're like, yeah, you're right. It is, dude. I mean, if you look at it is it going to be there in 12 months? I don't know.
Right.
At that interest rate, probably not.
Well, I'm just glad to see. I'm glad to see the community at Olympus actually trying to reduce it, right, and trying to stabilize things. So to me, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of them. They all talk about if it goes down to $1, this and that's going to happen. I'm kind of curious to see what the this and that is at that point.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because you do keep up, but who knows?
Who knows?
But it's all fun, right?
That's right.
So,
hey, everybody, real quick. We're Forked got the draft of the investment club agreement from the attorney yesterday. Joe's going to finish his edits, and I finished mine yesterday. We're going to get that ready to post to you guys to sign digitally. And I'll post in the Discord about that. Got a couple of folks working really hard on some tasks around the project. We're going to get voting on the particular projects set up here in the next, hopefully, 24 hours. So we can ramp up and jump in with our money on these discounted projects right now because everything's on sale, Joe.
Yeah, no, it is a good time. I mean, I was looking at some of my stuff, the Fortress and the Unistal and those. I mean, those are just, again, this is what happens 6 months from now in my mind, or 12 months from now. And, it's who lasts and who stays.
Yeah.
And so
maybe tomorrow we should start going through the list. Maybe tomorrow we'll spend the show going through the list of all the potential ones we're going to put in for We're Forked.
Yeah, and go to that the FOMO page.
Yeah.
And there's that one tab where you can get like the top 90 just pop up there.
Yeah.
And we just look at those and start thinking about, is it, some strategy puts a percentage of it into the top 10. Maybe a strategy puts all of it into top 10. Maybe a strategy puts all of it. People will pick those strategies.
Yeah.
Versus individual, companies per se.
Yeah.
And we'll have reasons why, and start like looking at the ratios. What makes the most sense, because this really is kind of more of a, diversification play across all of them, and, crowdsourcing information and intelligence about different ones. So if you know the developers, the audience, if you know the developers, and you've worked with them in the past, so it's not, a bad rug pull. Maybe they stage 3 or 4 of their roadmap effed it up at that point. But and didn't just run away with whatever that was left in the till. Those are the kind of companies that we want to look at.
Yeah, Julio, the FOMO page is FOHMO.io. FOHMO.io. Hey, listen, that's actually a good idea, Joe. If you have a project you like and you want to talk about it on the show tomorrow or Monday, send me a DM. B05 Crypto on Twitter and Telegram, B05 Crypto on Twitter and Telegram, and B05 Crypto pound 2143 on Discord, pound 2143 on Discord. We'll have you on the show. You can spend a couple of minutes talking about the ones you like. So anybody that wants to come on the show tomorrow or Monday to talk about Ohm Forks that you like, or any other projects that you think Weir Fork should be investing in, we're going to give preference to people that are already signed up and committed to the club, but would love to have you guys come on and talk about what you think is important and we should be looking at.
Absolutely. Because, this is a word of mouth game too.
Yeah.
And so when we know when people are recommending people, they tend to recommend people that are performers.
Yep.
Or that have some angles. So, so that's kind of always the best information. And it's, the big thing like in the VC space is, they never really deal with people that just approach them.
Exactly.
It's only people they've already funded or people that they know from something else.
Somebody
so
introduced them. Yep.
Yes. So if you're writing B plans and sending out to VCs, the odds of getting funded are pretty much zero. We can look at that the same way here. Let's see which ones are there, get the club into this stuff early as possible and go from there. But anyhow,
sounds good, man.
I got to run too, because I got another call coming in.
Okay,
all right, buddy.
Have a great day, everybody.
Happy New Year
Love you
again to
guys.
everyone.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Talk to you. Bye.